Hey guys, welcome back to carbuyer.com.sg. So behind me I have the new Toyota Yaris Cross. We're going to review it today and we're going to tell you why we think it might be Singapore's hottest SUV in 2021 with one exception. Okay, so Toyota Yaris Cross. What makes a popular car in 2021? Well, it's got to be an SUV, it's got to be a hybrid, and it's got to be from a mainstream brand and probably costs less than 120 grand as well. The Toyota Yaris Cross is all three things at once, which is why it's already a strong seller for Toyota, with cars sold out until April as we make this video in February 2021. So right off the bat you can see why this might be a popular car, and we're going to explore the car closer. So let's first take a look at the styling. So what is a Yaris Cross? Yaris Cross is a small SUV, as the Yaris name implies. Now Yaris of course is the compact hatch from Toyota, and of course we have covered why people are going away from compact hatches towards SUVs in the modern day. So for about a little bit more money you can get quite a bit more space, quite a bit more utility. So Yaris Cross is totally a new car, and based on the Yaris as well. They both share the same platform, which is the new TNGA. I think that's the smaller platform, the B platform. And the Yaris Cross is also a coupe-like SUV, the sub-type of SUV which has become so popular in the past 5 years. So previously we had currently we have the Honda HR-V, we had the Toyota CHR as well. So let's take a closer look at the styling. Now, see those high-mounted headlights? Immediate cue that you're looking at an SUV as well. And these vertical, I don't know what these are, daytime running lights slash fog lights as well. Nice clean design overall, little streaks on the bonnet, makes it look a bit more exciting. Actually, you know, from certain angles this looks a bit like a Porsche Macan. Now let's look around the side. Okay, more coupe SUV tricks here. So look at the black roof and sort of the semi-hidden C-pillar, the lights as well. So we also have contrast bumpers right there. So another crossover SUV hallmark. Going around the back, we have another nice styling feature. So look at how the tail light is one whole light bar, and then bisected by the Toyota badge here. That looks a lot like another car, the Toyota Harrier, also a hybrid, and also probably going to do quite well in Singapore this year. We have a video on that. So actually this car reminds us a lot of the Harrier in many ways, even though the Harrier is quite a bit more expensive. Okay, looking around the back, overall quite a handsome car, and you know, all the ingredients for an exciting looking SUV in 2021. So what do you guys think of the styling? Let us know in the comments. We think it's pretty presentable, sporty, slightly coupe-like, and very fashionable, very contemporary. Alright, so let's take a look at the back seat of the Yaris Cross. And small SUV, so you should expect to fit 4 adults in comfort, 5 adults with a squeeze. Now let's look at this. The passenger seat is in a slightly forward position, driver's seat is in my preferred driving position, so not bad. The legroom, I can actually stretch out my knees, quite a bit of distance here. Of course, if this guy doesn't want to share space, I will have a little bit of a less comfortable time of it, but overall it's still pretty good. Let me sit up straight. Pretty good headroom. A little cutout here, so my head doesn't scrape the headliner. As usual, 1.73 meters tall. I am no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. About this much space. Yep. So behind the driver's seat, a little bit less space. This thing kind of comes in towards me, but still quite decent overall. If I were to fit 3 people right here, it would be, you know, shoulder to shoulder. But as a small SUV, I think this is pretty good. And one nice thing to note about the Yaris Cross, it's a lot nicer to be in the back seat than the Toyota CHR, which is the other small SUV that Toyota had. Toyota still has actually, and there's a little bit more window, so it's not so claustrophobic. So the CHR was very, very coupe-like. This one is slightly coupe-like and not so claustrophobic in the back. All right, we're in the cockpit of the Yaris Cross. So 2021 small SUV. What are we looking for? We're looking for user-friendliness, we're looking for simplicity, and we're looking for lots of features as well. So let's start up the Yaris Cross. Blue power button here. This is the hybrid, of course. Okay, start up. Little startup animation there, that's quite nice. Okay, we're ready to roll. Okay, so there's a tiny digital display here, and these are LCD also displays. But I like that they have done a little bit of a instrument panel, instrument cluster thing going instead of making this one vast expanse of black screen. So right here we have our eco indicator. When you're on the move, it tells you if you're being a good boy or not. On the right is a speedometer. And not sure if you can see this, but there is also a HUD, and that's quite nice to find in a mainstream SUV. Not a common feature to find in this segment. Okay, so let's look at the quality of the cabin first. So as a car in the mainstream segment at about $100,000, quite a bit of plastic here. But I think in general, Toyota has made quite an improvement in general to the quality of the cabin and the switchgear. So we first saw this modern Toyotas in the new Corolla Altis, which we reviewed last year, the start of last year. So there's a similar theme going on here. Better quality interior, nicer looking switchgear, a little bit of pizzazz in the design as well. But this being a crossover, there's also even more character designed into the cabin. So look at this right here. This is sort of a textile feeling material, nicer than hard plastic for sure. This is hard plastic, but doesn't have that rough feel, or doesn't look shiny. It's a slight matte finish. I like that. So here you look at the curve of the door handles in here, easy to use. The instrument button panels is slightly raised, and you can see that slightly raised. So when you're driving along, quite easy to use. You don't have to do this and kind of like jab your elbow into the seat. This is a nice touch. I like this as well. Okay, so steering wheel. Now, I'm going to say this a lot in this review. The car reminds me a lot of the Toyota Harrier, which is kind of a mid-size SUV, but also premium, semi-premium. Check out the video. We drove the Harrier before we drove the Yaris Cross. So check out the video. We have it full review online as well. And steering wheel is a bit smaller than the Harrier. Of course, it's a small car. I actually quite like how small the steering wheel is. Quite sporty looking as well. Very clear button layout. So this is for controlling all my info here. Right. Volume, track. So we got all our entertainment controls in one line, and we got all our car controls in another line. Very logical layout. I like that as well. This is for the adaptive cruise control. Now let's take a closer look at the info display, because it's going to show us a few of the features that the Yaris Cross has. Okay, so we're going to go, alright, so portable player is not connected. When my Bluetooth is playing, they'll show me what track is playing. I'm going to scroll up. So this is my info, what do you call this, driving assistant info display. So when my adaptive cruise control is on, or my lane keeping assist is on, this will tell me as well. Now here's the important part, the hybrid driving panel. So look at that, that's a really good average, but we'll come to that later again. Okay, so Eco Zone, this tells you, this coaches you to whether or not you're driving nicely in different segments of your drive. And then here is how much EV power you've been using. So I just started the car. Car's running on battery power, no engine on it also, it's 100% right now. Okay. And we come to the infotainment screen. Again, very much like the Harriers. I think this is similar size, also about 7 to 8 inches. I'll get confirmation on that. But pretty much the same thing. Info shows us our hybrid screen, information, how good a boy you've been or girl. Menu, and as usual, you can also connect to Android Auto or Apple CarPlay as well. So not the nicest, luxurious, most awesome screen in the world, but a lot better for Toyota. Have a look at the, I'm sorry about the reflections, quite sharp, quite responsive, you know, no lag, a lot better than the previous Android-based systems that we've seen Toyota use. Okay, we look down here. More black plastic, but this is soft touch. This is a little bit hard, but I think, you know, even the hard plastics don't feel cheap in this car. So it actually is quite a nice place to spend your time. And then down here, aircon controls, very easy, automatic, single zone, but you can also choose the Eco, heat and cool mode, or your controls easy to use right here. 2 USB ports down there. We have a CVT gearbox, and lastly the EV mode if you want to force the car to go into quiet electric mode, and also drive mode. So drive mode, there's normal, there's power, and there's eco. That's pretty much it. But I think in a car like this, you're not really going to bother with the power bit very much. And just now we mentioned usability as part of an SUV. So why people like SUVs is because you have more space to put your stuff. So let me see. This is my my water bottle, my wallet. So I can put this here. This is not the biggest, but it's still okay. I can put this here. I can put my wallet here. There's quite a big space. There's another space here as well. And for my jumbo phone, put it down here. Doesn't really fit like that. And there's a useful little shelf up here as well. So that's quite cool. So in terms of storage space and cubby holes, Yaris Cross scores quite well. Certainly better than a compact hatch of the same type. Alright, and let's move on to how the car drives. So let's zoom back a bit. Maybe you can see this. First of all, I have a typical SUV crossover seating position, which is quite high. So my eye point is, should be around here. Good view of the road. But of course, this being a coupe styled SUV, this is pretty thick. A-pillars are pretty thick. Block vision a little bit. The view from the rear window is okay, not bad, but as you can see, the passenger headrests do block some of the vision. So okay, but not super visibility for the driver. But of course, related to that is the fact that the Yaris Cross has a lot of safety equipment, just like the Harrier. So let's scroll down here and I can show you all the safety equipment that this car has. So that's not what I'm looking for. LTA, not Land Transport Authority, but Lane Tracking Assist, which keeps you in your lane. Pre-collision system, basically autonomous forward braking, stops you from hitting things if you're not paying attention. Blind spot monitor, one of the things we really like, always recommend people get in a car. Parking assist, that's quite normal stuff. Rear cross traffic alert, don't reverse into traffic onto the main road. Piqueing, that is stopping you from ramming into things if you're reversing or parking. Also quite useful, but sometimes can take you a little bit aback if you don't know what's going on. HUD, just now we mentioned the HUD. Not sure if you can see it, of course, but it's there. And besides that, the car also has adaptive cruise control. So that together with the lane assist means you can turn this on the highway. It'll help you steer, it'll help you keep the distance. You can be a lazy worm and just cruise along in zenness, which is quite a nice touch for a mainstream car. Again, this is Toyota Safety System Plus. Lots of active safety in 2021, and we like that a lot. That's what we should expect from cars moving ahead. Of course, the Corolla Altis had this and did this last year. Kind of brought the whole yardstick forward for what to expect from a mainstream car. And moving on, this is what we have. So a clear improvement, even though it's just a year on. Bonus points to Toyota for that. Okay, so how does the Yaris Cross drive otherwise? Because it's a hybrid, Toyota hybrid, and as usual, in town, it's very, very efficient. It's very refined because a lot of the time the engine isn't on. Now, this is a totally new system that we're seeing from Toyota based on a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine. Last time they had a compact hybrid was the Prius C that had a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, so that was a slightly different Toyota hybrid synergy drive system. This one, 3-cylinder, that has the potential to be a bit more vibey, a bit less refined, but in practice is actually pretty good. In fact, unlike the Harrier, I don't feel any vibrations through the steering wheel or the pedals, so that actually is a plus over it. In terms of road noise, there's quite a bit of tire noise, quite a bit of wind noise, but of course in the mainstream segment, again, it performs decently against other cars in the segment. Now, in a break from history, I think that the Yaris Cross has a nice little surprise up its sleeve. In the past, when you have small Toyota cars, obviously built to a cost, when you drove them quickly in a corner, they would kind of go, I'm going to give up. Here, you're on your own now. Please don't do that. That sort of feeling, kind of like the car's lagging behind you. But I think modern Toyotas with the TNGA platform, one of the promises of TNGA, which Toyota engineers told us when they first unveiled the platform, that was on the current Prius, They said all the components will be shifted downwards. The platform is aimed towards a low center of gravity for better handling, fun to drive. That was the whole thing that Akio Toyoda, president of Toyota, kicked off about 10 years ago or less. And it is starting to show in normal Toyotas like this, which is a very nice thing to see. So not just for the appearance of the car, which we covered just now, but also the driving experience. So when you drive this car in the corner, it remains stable, remains very composed. Now, it's not a sports car, it's not a coupe, but it's stable, it's composed, it's nice, and you can go a lot faster than you would expect SUVs, small SUVs like this, inexpensive cars like this to go normally in the past. So quite a leap forward there, and that is a benefit of the new TNGA platform. Okay guys, let's sum up. Now, why is the Yaris Cross going to be a hot seller in Singapore this year and probably moving forward? Number one, it's a SUV. Number two, it's a small, affordable SUV. Number three, it's a coupe-style SUV. Ooh, very important in the current fashion. Number four, it's a hybrid. So that means it will get a rebate of up to $15,000 in using the current VES scheme. So that is, if you think about it, for a mainstream car like this, costing around $100,000, very, very important. So that's almost a 15% discount upfront. Who's going to argue with $15,000 off? Nobody. So there's almost nothing more to add there. And the Yaris Cross has already proven its worth. And the first batch of officially imported Yaris Crosses have already been sold out by dealer Borneo Motors. They tell me you have to wait until April to get your hands on one right now. So if that's not the hallmark of a good selling car, I don't know what is. But on the flip side, is there anything we don't like about the Yaris Cross? Well, maybe small quality issues, like this plastic bit here, very clicky, and right where I can touch it. Some more plastics down here that don't feel super nice. But as we said just now, a lot of the plastics that you touch are soft touch and actually feel quite high quality. So that's minor stuff if I really wanted to be picky and anal about stuff. The other only drawback we can think of the Yaris Cross is the fact that 0 to 100 in 11.4 seconds isn't particularly quick, but 0 to 60 is pretty okay thanks to the electric motor. So this is quite zippy around town. Just don't expect it to behave, like a Harrier or something with a bigger engine on the highway, and you're fine. Okay, let's talk about pricing and the Yaris Cross. So there are two versions. This is the more expensive model, which is called the Excite, and that is about 6 or 7 grand more than the base model. The only big differences there are you get one less USB port and you get halogen lights on that one. So not a huge difference between the two. The good thing is you get the safety systems, everything that we just talked about on board the base model as well, which is a really good addition for any car. So this is a small SUV. If you're looking at this car, you should also consider the Honda HR-V, very, very popular car, arguably the dominant car in the segment before this. If you want to look at Koreans, we have the Hyundai Venue, and we also have the slightly larger Kia Seltos. But if you're looking at hybrid cars and you want that $15,000 rebate, then right now there's really only Nissan Kicks e-Power. We have a review of that. Please watch that as well. But I think in comparison to the Nissan, the Yaris Cross drives a little bit better, handles a little bit better. Interior quality is also a little bit better. And I think it's slightly easier to get a lower fuel consumption in the Toyota. So we did mention one point in the start of the video, what could make the Yaris Cross not be the hottest SUV of 2021. That is the new HR-V, which is also coming in 2021, is also a hybrid. It will have the hybrid system from the Honda Jazz, which is just launched in Singapore earlier this month. But until we drive that, we won't know. So the Yaris Cross is probably the king of the small hybrid SUV hill for now. So that's all we have for you on the Toyota Yaris Cross. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like it, please share it, leave a comment, tell us what we're doing right, what we want to know, any questions you have about the car and other stuff. So we'll see you next time.